Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call our meeting to order for February 24th, 2025. Bonjour tout le monde. J'aimerais déclarer cette réunion du 24 février 2025 ouverte. Before proceeding to the agenda, I want to recognize that Ottawa is located on unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Host Nation. The peoples of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation have lived in this territory for millennia. Their culture and presence have nurtured and continue to nurture this land. The Ottawa Police Service Board honors the peoples and land of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation. Today, Ottawa is home to approximately 40,000 First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. Ottawa's Indigenous community is diverse, representing many nations, languages, and customs. The Ottawa Police Service Board honors all First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples and their valuable past and present contributions to this land. We are currently broadcasting on Zoom and live streaming on YouTube. Should we receive any disruptions, I would ask that everyone remain patient as we work to fix the issue and resume the meeting as soon as possible. Today, prior to this public meeting, we held our in-camera meeting. I can report the following in terms of items considered in camera. Operational update, major events and demonstrations. The board considered this item in camera pursuant to 44.2K, information that Section 8 of the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection and Privacy Act would authorize a refusal to disclose if it were contained in a record. The board received a debrief on the management of previous events that took place. No decision was taken with respect to this item. 2, negotiation carried on behalf of the board. The board considered this item in camera pursuant to 44.2J of this Community Safety and Policing Act. That is a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiation carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the board. No decision was taken with respect to this item. Number 3, an operational matter. The board considered this item in camera pursuant to 44.2K of the CSPA, information that Section 8 of the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act would authorize a refusal to disclose if it were contained in the record. A decision was taken with respect to this item. A delay application. The board considered this item in camera pursuant to 44.2B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including members of the police service or any other employee of the board. The board did make a decision. The board also considered 5 labor relations matters. The board considered these items in camera pursuant to 44.2D of the Community Safety and Policing Act. That is labor relations or employee negotiations. A decision was made regarding 4 of these labor relations matters, and no decision was taken with respect to the 5th labor relations matter. The board considered a legal services status report, settlements 4th quarter 2024, and it considered this item in camera pursuant to 44.2 of the CSPA. E, litigation or potential litigation affecting the board, including matters before administrative tribunals, and 44.2F, advice that would be inadmissible in a court by reason of any privilege under the law of evidence, including communications necessary for that purpose. The board received an update on legal claims and actions filed against the board in the previous quarter. No decision or resolution was taken with respect to this item. The board also considered 3 legal matters in camera pursuant to 44.2 of the Community Safety and Policing Act, specifically 44.2E, litigation or potential litigation affecting the board, including matters before the administrative tribunals, and 44.2F, advice that would be inadmissible in court by reason of any privilege under the law of evidence, including communications necessary for that purpose. No decision was taken with respect to these matters. I will now proceed with the confirmation of the agenda. It is recommended that the Ottawa Police Service Board confirm the agenda of 24th February 2025. Is the agenda confirmed?
Confirmed.
Confirmed.
Thank you. Confirmation of minutes, item number 4. 4.1 minutes 113 number 1 and 113 number 2 of January 27, 2025. It is recommended that the Ottawa Police Service Board confirm minutes 113 number 1 and 113 number 2 of January 27, 2025 meeting. Are the minutes confirmed?
Confirmed.
Confirmed.
Thank you. Item 5, committee meetings. This is 5.1, Finance and Audit Committee, draft minutes number 30 of February 10th, 2025. It is recommended that the Ottawa Police Service Board receive this item for information. Is the item received?
Received.
Thank you. Item 6, declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest? Seeing none. Public delegations. There are no delegations for today's meetings. We'll move on to 8, inquiries. Are there any inquiries today? Seeing no inquiries, so we're going to go right into items of business. 9, chair's report. So we will hold the chair's report. Chief's verbal report 9.2 will be held. Attendance at the 9.3, attendance at the OAPSB Spring Conference 2025 and sponsorship. The board would have received an executive director's report. Would anyone like to hold this item? I am going to make one slight amendment. I am going to add member DeRocha's interest in attending this conference. So I will read out the amended recommendation. It is recommended that the Ottawa Police Service Board approve the in-person attendance of Chair S. Fakirani, Vice Chair M. Carp, Member S. DeRoche, and Executive Director Habib Sae at the Ontario Association of Police Service Board Spring Conference and AGM being held in London, Ontario from June 3rd to 5th, 2025. And number 2, a $1,000 silver sponsorship for the OAPSB Spring Conference and AGM. Is the item carried as amended?
Carried as amended.
Great, thank you. 9.4, this is the Special Olympics Ontario School Championship sponsorship. Again, we received an executive director's report. Would anyone like to hold this item? Seeing none, I'm going to read in the recommendation. It is recommended that the Ottawa Police Service Board approve a $2,000 bronze sponsorship for the Special Olympics Ontario School Championships held in Ottawa and hosted by the City of Ottawa and the Ottawa Police Service. Is the item carried?
Carried.
Great. Thank you, and thank you for all board members who are participating in that. 9.5, we have, oh, sorry, Member Donaldson.
Sorry, just wanted to mention, since we did approve the sponsorship, that the Ontario Police Service is hosting the high school Special Olympics June 3rd to 5th, and actively encourage any members of the board or anybody listening in this meeting who has an opportunity to try and participate and attend in some of the activities.
Thank you, Member Donaldson, and thank you for your contribution to this as well. Going to move on to 9.5. This is the appointment of police service officers. Anyone like to hold this report? We're good. It's pretty straightforward, so I will read in the recommendation. It is recommended that the Ottawa Police Service Board, number 1, appoint on the date of swearing in the Ottawa Police Service police officers listed within this report pursuant to Section 37(1)(c) of the Community Safety and Policing Act, and number 2, issue a certificate of appointment as required by Section 83(4) of the CSPA. Is the item carried?
Carried.
Carried.
Thank you. 9.6 is the appointment of auxiliary members report. Would anyone like to hold this report? Seeing none, I'm going to read in the recommendation that the Ottawa Police Service Board approve the appointment of Alice Abed, Grace Millette, Ian Lowe, Joseph Daou, Lisa Ding, Oscar Lee, Rabia Jadayel, Thomas McCullough, Tim Holman, and Eunice Magsi as auxiliary members of the Ottawa Police Service pursuant to Section 91(1) of the Community Safety and Policing Act. Is the item carried?
Carried.
Carried.
Thank you. 9.7 is the 2025 Internal Audit Plan, the Chief's Report. Would anyone like to hold this? Okay, I've got Member Carr.
Sorry, that was the
Sorry, Vice Chair
audit?
Carr. Vice Chair Carr, yeah? Vice Chair Carr, are we holding the audit?
Yep, please.
Okay.
I'll be quick, I promise. Thank you.
No problem. 9.8, response to inquiry 12404, major events and demonstrations. We received a response. Would anyone like to hold this? No, okay. It is recommended that the Ottawa Police Service Board receive this report for information. Is the item received?
Received.
Saved.
Thank you. 9.9 is another response to inquiry. It's I-2503, obstructed license plate. We received the Chief's response. Would anyone like to hold this? Seeing none, it is recommended that the Ottawa Police Service Board receive this report for information. Is the item received?
Received.
Received.
9.10, response to inquiry I-2502, P1 and P2 calls for service at or around schools. Chief's response. Anyone wish to hold this item? Yep, Vice Chair Carr. Okay, 9.11, the performance report, fourth quarter 2024. Would anyone like to hold this item? Seeing none, it is recommended that the Ottawa Police Service Board receive the performance report, fourth quarter 2024 for information. Is the item received?
Received.
Thank you. 9.12 is the workforce management report, fourth quarter 2024. Would anyone like to hold this item? Okay, it is therefore recommended that the Ottawa Police Service Board receive this report for information. Is the item received?
Received.
Thank you. Report on the Special Investigation Unit 24 OFP 301. Would anyone like to hold this? This is 9.13. Okay, therefore, it's recommended that the Ottawa Police Service Board receive the report on the Special Investigation Unit 24 OFP 301 for information. Is the item received?
Received.
And then 9.14 is the summary of City Council decisions related to the Ottawa Police Service Board. This was an Executive Director's report. Would anyone like to hold this item? It is therefore recommended that the Ottawa Police Service Board receive this report for information. Is the item received?
Received.
Received.
Schedule of conferences in 2025, Executive Director's report. Would anyone like to hold this item? No, my only comment is that encourage all board members to participate in as many educational activities as is possible within our budget guidelines. And they are an excellent opportunity, particularly new members, to understand better the workings and challenges that other boards are facing and similar issues that we're facing with other boards, and an excellent way to network. So we'll receive this report. It is recommended that the Ottawa Police Service Board receive this report for information. Is this item received?
Received.
Received.
Okay. 9.16 is the Legal Service Status Report 2024, fourth quarter. Would anyone like to hold this item? So it is recommended that the Ottawa Police Service Board receive the Legal Services Status Report 224, fourth quarter for information. Is the item received?
Received.
Thank you. 917, outstanding board inquiries, motions, and directions, February 2025. Would anyone like to hold this item? No, I just want to thank the executive director on this item for adding that new action item registry. That is going to be really helpful in making sure we continue our following up on our work. So that's the comment I have. So I'm just going to say it is recommended that the Ottawa Police Service Board receive this report for information. Is the item received?
Received.
Letters of commendation. I think we will hold this item. We'll go back to our items of business now. So we're going to go to 9.1, Chair's verbal report. So I would like to begin by welcoming Councillor Steve DeRoche as the newest member of the Ottawa Police Service Board. His experience and commitment to the community will undoubtedly be an asset to this board. We look forward to working with him in this important role. Welcome, Member DeRoche. At the same time, I want to take a moment to recognize and thank Mayor Mark Sutcliffe for his contributions during his time on the board. As a member, Mayor Sutcliffe helped shape critical public safety decisions, and we are grateful for the time and effort he dedicated to this role. While we know that his tenure on the board has come to an end, we know that his commitment to community safety remains strong, and we appreciate his continued leadership. I want to take a minute. Actually, I'm going to turn it over to Vice Chair Carr to give a bit of a highlight of some of the activities she took part in over the last month, because I think it'll be important to hear from her directly on some of the events she took part in. So I'm going to turn it over to Vice Chair Carr to continue with the chair's message.
Yeah, thanks very much, Chair. Appreciate that. I just wanted to highlight some of the activities I've participated in, either in my capacity as councillor, deputy mayor, but that also have a bit of an overlap with some of the work that is done within the purview of Police Services Board. So on February 1st, I attended the Black History Month launch that was put on by Black History Ottawa, along with some other partners. And I know Deputy Chief Burnett was there as well for that event. And in February 11th, I participated in the Ottawa Community Housing Partners Forum, where there was a number of partners from all across the city. Lots of community police officers participated in that, as well as social service agencies. There was a number of sessions on areas such as the alternative mental health response, complex care housing, which included information with respect to how policing intersects with some of these. On February 19th, I participated in the traffic jam conference put on by A New Day Youth and Adult Services. It was a 3-day conference. I only was able to attend the 1 day, and talking a lot about human trafficking, the rise in human trafficking. And there I was able to meet police officers from both the human trafficking unit. I was pleased to hear they'll be coming to, I believe, in May to provide the board with an update of their activities. Also was able to meet officers that work in the youth section, which is something that is, I'll be asking a question about youth later. I think it's something that's very important. I also just wanted to highlight as well that the chair of the Ottawa Police Services Board recently received the King Charles III Coronation Medal and Certificate of Merit. He was nominated by ex-Senator or previous Senator Jaffer in honor of his community service that he's done with the Ismaili community, but also because of his capacity as the chair of the Ottawa Police Services Board. So I just wanted to recognize that and thank the chair for his service and honor his achievement.
Thank you, Vice Chair, for that. And thank you for attending the many events you did. I know all board members are attending various events, and I know you took up a few this past month. So thank you for doing that. I also want to acknowledge members Curry and Donaldson for their continued leadership in the collective bargaining efforts that are going on. They successfully led the previous negotiations with the Ottawa Police Association and are now actively engaged in the renewal of our agreement with the Senior Officers Association. So I want to point that out as well. So this concludes my verbal report and Vice Chair's verbal report, I can say. I'll open it up to any questions or comments that board members have. Otherwise, we'll go right direct. Then I'll read in the recommendation. So I'll read in the recommendation that the Ottawa Police Service Board receive this report for information. Is the chair's report item received?
Received.
Thank you. And we'll go now to the chief's verbal report. Chief Stubbs, please.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon. Bonjour à tous. I as well want to welcome the new board member, Councillor DesRoches. Look forward to working with you in the coming years. Of course, at the same time, too, thanking outgoing board member Mayor Sutcliffe for his 2 years of contribution to the board. His input and support was greatly appreciated, and of course, more difficult to find that time as the mayor there. So we really appreciated that. Again, I too want to recognize the significance of Black History Month. This month serves as an important reminder for all of us to recognize and celebrate the contributions of Black Canadians, both past and present. Members of the OPS have been attending some Black History Month events in February, of course. In the last few weekends, I had the privilege of attending with others from our team, the 13th annual Global Community Alliance Gala, as well as the St. Lucia Independence Gala. Both events were incredible, and it's an opportunity to meet some new people in the community, as well as seeing now some of those that I've met over the last few years. And I'm always humbled by the gracious reception that the OPS receives at these events. It really is uplifting and positive for all of us that are there. As well as I'm always inspired by the incredible people that are honored at these events, particularly at the Global Community Alliance. A bunch of young high school students are in there to get all these awards. And when they list off everything that they've done in their young lives, makes me feel like a bad parent. These are incredible kids that have done truly great things. I also want to make comments about the recent Chinese New Year celebration. Our Asian, at the OPS Asian Employee Resource Group, they've been fantastic in the community, and they attended both the Lunar New Year Parade as well as the official New Year celebration at the EY Center. And 12 of our officers had the privilege of participating in a traditional Chinese performance by ushering in one of the dragons. That was followed by following the Pearl of Wisdom, which symbolizes the dragon's continuous pursuit of wisdom. This is an honor for the OPS to perform this function. And I was at the EY event, and we're really proud of our members, all in uniform, many of them volunteering their time. And the positive reception that they received from the Chinese community was really encouraging. So I really thank the organizers of that event for including the OPS in their biggest celebration of the year. I want to highlight an important opportunity that really reflects our commitment to diversity and inclusion in policing. The Ottawa Police Service is now accepting applications for the 2025 Thomas G. Flanagan Scholarship Award. There's 4 days left to apply here, so get after it if you qualify. This annual $2,000 scholarship was established in memory of a former chief, Thomas G. Flanagan, and it's dedicated to supporting Indigenous and racialized women pursuing post-secondary education with aspirations of a career in policing. So I certainly hope we get a lot of applications here. So please, anyone eligible to apply, help us to continue building a police service that truly reflects Ottawa's diversities. And again, applications are open until February 28th. More details on our website at ottawapolice.ca. I want to update the board on the parliamentary district that is being established with funding from the federal government. In the fall, we deployed the first team, who are now engaged with key partners, the Parliamentary Protective Service, the House of Commons, the Senate, the RCMP. Our early focus was to establish a presence within the district and the team is now looking at improving our communication systems and supporting our partners in our respective roles. Everybody has a role on the Hill there. The positive feedback from the parliamentary community has been incredibly encouraging. As the team grows, these officers will be expanding their work into the community surrounding the precinct, and also we'll be increasing our operational hours during the week. It will take 2 or 3 years to fully staff the team, which when full will total 40 sworn and 9 civilians. I'm also excited to share more information, more updates on Project Complement that we mentioned last month. This initiative is all about expanding the roles and duties of our special constables. They'll be taking on tasks like forensic investigations, handling evidence, relieving officers from administrative duties, and supporting and assisting investigation. The project is moving along very well, and we're on track with our ambitious hiring schedule. To give you an idea, for the initial job postings, we had over 700 applications for the forensic identification technician, which was one group of posting, and the other posting was for the generalist special constable positions. Onboarding is set to start the week of March 17th, which will be followed by a 7-week training program. And of course, all this aligns with the Community Safety and Policing Act. We're aiming for an operational deployment by early June of this year. The desired candidates will bring their subject matter expertise and specialized academics to our service. On a provincial level, I can tell you the Ottawa Police Service will lead the way in expanding our special constable program. By integrating these special constables into our frontline operations, we expect a positive impact on service delivery and member wellness. Project Complement and our special constables will also assist in addressing some case management backlogs, free up time for our frontline officers, and continue to build that community trust through the professional service that they'll deliver. And I just want to take this last sentence to thank the human resource section and those members that are working on the Project Complement team for how quickly they have advanced this initiative. I'd also like to address something that we don't often talk about or think about, but it's a serious and dangerous reality. The exposure of our officers to harmful substances like fentanyl and crystal meth. These are risks that most of us wouldn't expect to face during routine police work, yet they can have a life-threatening consequence on our team. Earlier this month, 2 of our officers were recently hospitalized after separate incidents involving fentanyl and crystal meth. One of the officers was exposed to fentanyl during a traffic stop on Esprit Drive while arresting a 36-year-old man. During the arrest, over 70 grams of fentanyl and 146 grams of an unknown substance was seized. The individual was charged with possession of a Schedule I substance for trafficking. Then a few days later, an officer from East Division became ill after seizing crystal meth during an arrest. After feeling nauseous and lightheaded, the officer pulled over and a sergeant called for paramedics. Thankfully, both officers are recovering, but these events serve as a reminder of the hidden dangers our first responders face every day. These incidents also emphasize the deadly risks drugs like fentanyl present to our first responders and the devastating impact the opioid crisis continues to have on communities across our city. After a month-long investigation, the Guns and Gang Unit arrested a 32-year-old resident who is facing multiple charges, including trafficking and firearms-related offenses. A search warrant was executed at 2 residences in South Ottawa. The operation resulted in the seizure of over 7 kilograms of illicit drugs, which include cocaine, methamphetamine, and oxycodone. A 40 cal handgun with extended magazines, a large quantity of ammunition, a bulletproof vest, and multiple cell phones were also seized, along with a substantial amount of Canadian currency. This major operation highlights the exceptional work of the Guns and Gangs unit, who continue to tackle the serious threats posed by illegal firearms and drug trafficking. Our fire department friends are just passing my office. If you can hear that siren, so I'll oh yeah, a bit of a honk there too. I'll just wait 1 second here. All right, there we go. Thanks again to the Guns and Gang Unit, and also for the efforts of the South and East Neighborhood Response Teams and the Tactical Unit who assisted with this operation. And lastly, the Marine Dive and Trails Unit. They've been out conducting enforcement efforts to help keep our roads and trails safe. This month, we partnered with Parks Canada wardens for joint enforcement, stopping multiple skidoos, sleds, and administrating the alcohol screening device tests. On the weekend, the MDT ran a ride initiative at Petrie Island. They stopped over 30 vehicles and administered 18 mandatory alcohol screening tests. While only one registered above the limit, it was encouraging to see that word quickly spread about our presence. And it led to more people making responsible choices, like calling an Uber or a designated driver instead of getting behind the wheel. They continued their efforts the next day in Constance Bay, where they issued a 3-day suspension to an ATV driver who had actually been stopped by the team the previous weekend. These proactive efforts reinforce the importance of enforcement and education in preventing impaired driving. So my thanks to the officers involved in this initiative. That concludes my report. Thank you very much, Chair, and happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions from board members? So Chief, I do have a question concerning you referenced the parliamentary district, sort of 2 to 3 year horizon to get it fully staffed. I'm assuming that that's also fitting in with the district model plan. So there's the 4 district, this would be District 5, or is it separate because the funding is separate? And is there sort of some type of synergy between the district model and the parliamentary district or not?
Yeah, certainly there are some tentacles. The district project has tentacles in most places of in our organization, and that is certainly one of them as well too. It is going at a different pace, like you mentioned, Chair. It is a separate bucket of funding, and we are obviously received the funding, through the city, but we have demands to report back to the federal government with our progress, speaking with them on a regular basis. But the district team certainly is aligned and well aware of the creation of the district, and it is accounting for it in their plans.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments, board members? Read in the recommendation then that the Ottawa Police Service Board receive the Chief's verbal report for information. Is the item received?
Received.
Received.
Thank you. The next held item I have is 9.7, 2025 Internal Audit Plan. Vice Chair Carr, please.
Yes, thank you very much. I will be quick, I promise. I was really happy to see this on the agenda, and I apologize that I missed the Finance and Audit Committee meeting where I could have asked my questions. This is great because, of course, with the CSPA, we have responsibilities for quality assurance, but also we have a policy, policy CR9, Police Board policy on audit requirements, that we have to ensure that there's an internal audit capacity and appropriate resources are provided. So I do have some questions with respect to the capacity to do these audits, as well as the work plan itself. So just a few quick questions. On the work plan itself, we just have the 2 audits that will be undertaken this year. Is it possible at all that the risk assessment that was used in determining those audits and timelines for audits, resources will be shared at a later date in the Finance and Audit Committee?
Yeah, we can do that. We can. So you'd like to understand how all of them were picked?
I think it'd be useful, just obviously, in order to determine those were the audits that were chosen, you would have done a risk assessment. Input from senior management at all. Like, is it possible to map it against those factors in the future when the audit plan comes forward?
No problem at all.
Okay. And is there any thought to would you have a rolling audit plan that's just, because I know that our policy says we have to get it on an annual basis, but typically you would have a rolling audit plan. Is that something that can never be shared?
Yeah, so we're actually working on a report right now for next month on the compliance with the ministry standards. I think the thing to remember that this year is the audit environment has become a lot more complex. The OAG is doing her audits. We've got the ministry is conducting their own inspections, or the IG is doing their own inspections. So a big thing here has been to sort of deconflict and making sure that we're not auditing the same topics. So, and that is a major factor in a lot of this. And another piece that we're doing is we're working with the executive director of the board to make sure that the topics he's doing align with the other pieces that are going on. So we went from a very small audit environment to a very, very complex one, and nothing that we can't handle. And we're talking to all those partners, so that shouldn't be an issue.
Okay, that was kind of my next question, John. Thank you for that. Like, is it the same team that monitors the management response for your internal audits, for the OAG audits that we're doing externally, the OIPRD? Like, is it all the same auditing team that undertakes all of those?
So not OIPRD is different, but if you're talking about the Inspector General, yes is the answer.
Okay, yeah, sorry, wrong acronym. So it's all this, and so all the monitoring that's done, the management action plans of all those different pieces is all done by the same team?
It's a very small team, yes.
Okay, so that's my kind of question. Like, we have a board policy that says that you have to have adequate resources. Is this going to be adequate resources, or is there a plan to further staff that unit?
So we are looking at bringing on a senior auditor at this time. I think they're in background right now. And so, yes, there is to increase the capacity. But again, it is a very, very busy unit, and they do a really good job, and they're very short-staffed.
Okay, that's really my concern, because I'm a audit enthusiast. I think it's really important, and I'll try to participate in the finance and audit committee meetings in the future when this is discussed. But I think it's important also for the board to understand, better understanding of the scope of these audits, as well as, be able to see the monitoring that's going on in the management action plans. But all of this is going to take more than one or two people, right? Like, it's a significant lift.
So just to build on that, we are bringing a report in next month that's going to be talking about overall compliance and sort of quality assurance, audit, policy, that type of thing. It's coming to the board's agenda next month, and that will include our plan that we are building out this unit to be in compliance with the act and make sure we're supporting the board, and also be in alignment with Habib and the work he's doing.
Okay, great. I look forward to that. Thank you very much.
I'll go to Chief Stubbs, and then I'll go to Member Donaldson. That's the order I have, unless I'm wrong. Tell me. Okay, go ahead, Chief.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to respond. So, Vice Chair Carr, I appreciate you sort of commenting on the capacity here, because there is a lot of oversight that is sort of layered on here with the CSPA and the IG. And you'll recall the board, former Chair Beck, reaching out to the City AG to conduct a number of reviews, which we're always open to reviews, oversight, and getting checked. That's not the issue. But there is an issue of bandwidth and capacity to do that, despite the fact that her office is doing the review. It's still a tremendous effort to sort of feed the auditors the information that they need, and managing them through the organization to ensure they get to see the people they want to see and get the data and the numbers that they need. It takes a lot of work. So it is there is a bandwidth issue here, and we're as John said, and Cameron Hopgood and Therese are on the line, who manage all this. They do a great job with what they have, but we are trying to build it a little bit. But we are watching them carefully to make sure that they're not overloaded.
Okay, yeah, because there's also the responsibility to continue to manage the implementation of those management action items from all the previous audits, right? And so that's, that's what my question really is. Like, that it's a lot more capacity than okay, we're doing two audits. It's my concern about the capacity overall. So thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, for example, the OAG, the municipal audit here, whether she comes with 2 recommendations or 200, I got no idea. But if it's the latter, well, a lot. That's a lot to implement or to consider on how to implement. So it's not just doing the audit. So thank you for that, and that realization, of course, that it is a big effort. So
thank you, Chief and Vice Chair Carr. Member Donaldson.
Thank you. Some of the questions raised by Vice Chair Carr, we were able to discuss in a little more detail at the Finance and Audit Committee. One of the things we did do was question the rationale for choosing the two items that are a part of this report, and received assurances that there are another, I believe it's other four items are equally as important, but given resources and given criteria as far as what was required, should we be able to increase capacity, we'll be able to expand on those particular audit items in the future. But I'd be happy to meet separately with Member Carr and sort of talk about some of the items that we discussed at the meeting that should address some of her concerns.
Okay. Thank you, Member Dawson. Any other questions or comments from board members? Okay, therefore, it is recommended that the Ottawa Police Service Board approve the 2025 internal audit work plan as endorsed by the Finance and Audit Committee. Is the item carried?
Carried.
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 Great, thank you. The next one that is being held is 9.10, response to inquiry I-2502. Vice Chair Carr.
Yeah, thanks. Me again, of course. I'll try to be quicker than I was in the last one. I really appreciated the response to this inquiry. I had tried to frame it a way to ask about the issue of violence in schools, but be able to keep it within the purview of the police board and not necessarily the school board, who's really has the responsibility for example, the school resource officers. But I appreciated the way that the responses were formulated. And it does reflect, what I hear, which is, fear of people in the community about schools. I get a common comment that people don't feel safe in bathrooms anymore and don't go to the washrooms at school, which is, my kids are graduated from high school now. But, it's something that I'm hearing more and more of. And so when I was reading the response, I was very interested in the youth strategy, and I'm hoping that we can get an update maybe at the board, like when just like we're doing for the human trafficking unit. But I guess when I read it, I just have a couple questions about other activities outside of the school resource officer program or whatever they've reconstituted, those four officers that are working within schools. What is being, if someone can give me a high level view of, what's being done with respect to, youth who are like, did the police work with youth that are on probation or the youth that are, at risk, youth with mental health or youth with like minimal criminal offenses? Maybe this is better to come back as a board presentation. I know tomorrow at community services meeting, we're going to be getting an update on the community and safety wellbeing plan, and one of the pillars there is youth, and they've got a strategy, and I know you have your own community and safety wellbeing plan, which youth is being considered. So maybe it's a bit of a bit broad of a question, but if anybody could give me the broad strokes, or if we can have this come back, I would appreciate it, because it is a big concern. I think we're seeing the numbers up. We're seeing concerns in the community about youth, and I don't know if there's a response today.
So, Chief, I'll leave it to you to decide whether or not you think it should be coming back to the board. It looks like it offers a larger discussion and sort of the relationship with the school boards themselves and the youth strategy. But if you want to provide a short answer now and maybe bring it back, or just I'll leave it to you to decide.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Vice Chair, for the question. We asked to join the meeting Staff Sergeant Fernando Vieira, and he's here. He's in charge of our youth unit. So we just got him to pop on just to help us out if Vice Chair Carr's questions were a bit complex, and they were in terms of that. No, just in terms of, well, you said it. You qualified it by how large or broad of the question it was. And we could talk about that for a long time. So I would suggest that we come back and maybe do a bit more of a formal presentation on the youth strategy that Staff Sergeant Vieira has led in terms of developing. And I'll maybe Fernando, I am just going to pass it over to you just to make some quick comments. Please you don't have to, I don't think, respond to everything that your unit is doing. That's what the presentation will be. But I'll just give you maybe a minute or two just to make a few comments But I will say this, sort of our reintroduction or the program that we've identified officers to be the contact for schools. I've already received emails and feedback from the schools in regards to a few instances where they were able to get immediate assistance, immediate guidance, and immediate intervention into some very serious incidents. And we're really pleased with the response of Fern's team, which I was really happy to get. But I know part of your question is not just in the schools, but outside of the schools that of what we're doing around the city. And so, Fern, maybe if you don't mind, I'll just go to you. And I don't know what you want to say, obviously, but we'll let you. We'll give you the floor for a minute or two, knowing that we'll come back with a more fulsome presentation.
No, thank you very much, Chief, for that. The fact that we're speaking about this is very telling. We are seeing an increase in youth violence. As a result, our youth strategy is doing its best, given the staffing that we have to address some of these concerns that we're hearing, not just from the schools, but also from youth-serving partners, including organizations like the William Hay Youth Detention Center. So, yes, we will put it together, a presentation for you guys, and we look forward to that opportunity.
I'll go to Deputy Chief Burnett before. Okay, go ahead, Deputy.
Thank you. And just to add to that point, I think the CSPA has given us some real good guidance, and we are exploring other opportunities to deal with some of the youth violence. And so, when we left the school, we always said that we wanted to go back to the school, re-envisioned with new approaches, and I think this has sort of given us an opportunity to do that.
Thank you, Deputy. Vice Chair Carr.
Yeah, thanks very much. And again, I'll probably have questions about resources when you come back. I'll just add that, at the same time that this inquiry back, I was actually thrilled to see the two audits that were chosen on that audit work plan that we talked about. The one being, of course, the youth crime investigations and that, specific mention of the effectiveness of diversion programs and intervention strategies. So, those are really important in light of what we're seeing out in the community and what, obviously I hear a lot more because I'm a city councillor as well as the vice chair of the Police Services Board. And I also, the community that I represent has seen a lot of youth violence over the last, for a long time, right? And so I really look forward to hearing back, and thank you very much for the information and the inquiry today.
Any other questions or comments from board members? Okay, and then it is recommended that the Ottawa Police Service Board receive this report for information. Is the item received?
Received.
And then I think we go to back to you, Chief, on letters of commendation, or if you're going to hand it off to Deputy Chief Burnett.
Yeah, boy, we are moving through this meeting. Yes, Deputy Chief Burnett, please.
Thank you. Thank you. I always love reading out these commendations, as do my colleagues, Deputy Chief Bell and DC Ferguson. So I'll do my best to highlight some of the ones that really struck me. The first one was received on the 19th of January from a member of the public, as most of these are, and they involve Sergeant Wellman, Constable Carmo, Constable Mounier, Constable Zacharias, Antone, and Krumanacher. And it reads, "Hello, I'm writing to express my deepest gratitude for the incredible kindness and compassion shown by your officers during a difficult time for our family. On Sunday, January 19th, 2025, my cousin entered his father's apartment for a wellness check and tragically discovered him deceased. It was later determined that his passing occurred 4 days earlier. Understandably, this was a deeply traumatic and emotional experience for my cousin. When we spoke about it today, he shared how amazing the officers were. Their kindness and professionalism during what was the worst day of his life brought a sense of comfort and missed the pain. While we cannot recall the officer's name, we believe he was the one who signed the death certificate and remained with us until the funeral home arrived to collect my uncle's body. His presence and empathy made an unbearable situation just a little bit more manageable, and for that, we are profoundly grateful. Please extend our heartfelt thanks to the officer and the entire team involved. Their actions truly made a difference, and we will always remember their support during this incredibly challenging time. The next commendation was received on the 6th of January and involves Constable Finch. Dear Sir, Madam, I just want to take a minute to personally express our deepest gratitude to Officer Finch and her colleague, which I forgot the name, I'm so sorry, who went above and beyond to help us out today. Officer Finch showed a very high level of professionalism, compassion, and empathy. Her knowledge and support were exceptional. Thank you again to the Ottawa Police. Best regards. In February 7th, hola, bonjour, hi. Please thank your team who were directing traffic at Industrial Road and train yards earlier today. It was nearby the Metro grocery store distribution warehouse. The trailer came off its hitch and was blocking traffic on the right lane. Professional, friendly, and efficient. And please thank the entire OPS team, frontline police officers, and the back office team for keeping the city safe. Have an amazing weekend. On February 10th, a member of the public wrote for Constable Ferguson. Don't believe this is any relation to Trish Ferguson. Hello, I'm writing this email to express my appreciation for the work of Constable Shannon Ferguson of Frontline Operations, Platoon E West. Constable Ferguson came to our home in response to a call about a creepy neighbor harassing our 8-year-old daughter and taking her picture on the way to school. I have to preface, these are words that are provided to me. Constable Ferguson was very considerate and caring and went out of her way to make my daughter feel comfortable and safe after this strange experience. She related well to our child, and it is all now fading memory. We'd like to express our gratitude to Shannon and hope that this compliment makes its way to her supervisor as a mark of excellent performance. And then the last commendation I'd like to read is dated February 10th, and it relates to Constable Titley. 3:30 a.m. on my way to the gym, and while I'm not in the habit of doing so normally, I had gotten into the habit of running the 4-way stop sign at this time of the morning. I guess I was getting some kind of teenage thrill out of doing something I'm not allowed to do. I'm pushing 70 years, LOL. Anyways, Constable Titley caught me this morning. I'm fond of a saying that goes something like, the measure of your integrity is how you behave when no one is watching. I guess I flunked. Constable Titley was most understanding, even though I received a ticket. I just wanted to thank him for the way he conducted himself and for making me give my head a shake. And that sums up the commendations for this week.
Thank you, Deputy. Any questions or comments from board members? It is recommended that the Ottawa Police Service Board receive letters of commendation January 2025. More information. Is the item received?
Received.
Okay, and we're going to item number 10 on our agenda, which is other business. Do any board members have any other business to raise? Then this concludes our public meeting. Our next regular meeting will be held on March 24th, 2025. May I please have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Thank you.